XSEED English Grade 4 Block number 16 Theme of a Story Lesson Plan 4 Theme of a Story. Students will be able to identify the theme of a story. Students, do you remember what we learned in the first page of the story? Yes, there was an old village in the forest. The village had fields, ponds, and river. The people of the village considered the forest to be their friend. The author is trying to say that the village is beautiful and had everything that the people wanted in it. This is the main idea of the page. Today we will learn to identify the theme of the story. The theme is like the main idea or author's message for the whole story. The main ideas for the paragraphs are: paragraph 2, the village changed as the number of people increased. In paragraph 3, the old trees were not cut down. In paragraph 4, there was no rain. Paragraph 5, there are still no rain. Paragraph 6, animals, things and people begged for rain. Paragraph 7, their prayers became a silver cloud. Paragraph 8, it rained. Paragraph 9, everyone sang and danced in the rain. Paragraph 10, the old trees were happy too. The theme of the story is to respect and value our nature and environment. The author wrote a story like this because he wants us to respect and care about nature. We can use the theme to make sure that we look after our natural resources like trees, water, and fuel rather than wasting them or using them carelessly. Students, take out your worksheet to page number 43. Use the 5 key details from the story Once in a Village. The village is a beautiful forest. A. B. When the number of people increases in the village, they decide to cut down the trees for their needs. C. There is no rain in the village for 5 years. D. The villagers, along with all the animals and plants, beg for the rain. E. A shining silver cloud. A shining silver cloud gives them rain, which makes the people, plants, and animals happy. Read the key details written above and write the theme of the story in your own words. The story's theme is that people do not care for or respect things until they are in trouble. Do we have a problem of not caring for our natural resources in the real world? Explain with the help of an example. Yes, we do have a problem of not caring for our natural resources. Like water, for example, many children in school wash their hands and leave the taps open, or sometimes they do not close open taps. All the waste, all this waste water. Exercise question. Page your content book to page number 105. Answer the questions from the story. What was the village like before the trees were cut? Before the trees were cut, the village was beautiful. It had a river in which women washed their clothes and children swam and fished. There were ponds full of lotuses. There were ponds full of lotuses, ducks, geese, and frogs. Many trees surrounded the village. These trees give the villagers wood, fruits, leaves, roots, and flowers. B. What happened when the number of people in the village grew? When the number of people of the village grew, they wanted more houses to live in and more fields to grow food. They started cutting trees in the forest for this. C. What happened after villagers cut down the trees in the forest? After the villagers cut down the trees in the forest, there was no rain in the village for 5 years. The ponds dried up and the lotuses withered and dead. The river became thin. Ducks and geese left the village. All the village became brown and weak. How did they finally manage to get rain? All the villagers, animals, plants, and everything else in the village begged for rain and prayed for it. All their prayers rose up into the air and formed a shining silver cloud, which finally gave them rain. Question number 2. Make sentences with the words. Make sentences. Blossomed. The rose bush blossomed on my birthday. Cured. Raj was finally cured of his skin conditions after 3 years of treatment. Sparse. Deserts have sparse vegetation because of their dry climate. Tender. The tender leaves of the plant were destroyed in the storm. Trickle. Anjum ran to turn off the tap when she heard the water trickle. Withered. The roses withered in the vase. Underline the key details in the paragraph from the story Once in a Village. Explain why each is a key detail. But slowly the numbers of people in the village grow. Underline the number of people in the village grow and underline so they began to cut down the trees. The first key details tells us about the main cause of the problem in the village. The second details tells us what people thought was the right thing to do to solve the problem. Question number 4. Which other story in your XSEED English reader is like the story Once in a Village? What are the similarities between the two stories? One story that is like a Once in a Village, the Golden Goose. Both the stories happen in the village and like the prayers that formed the silver cloud and brought rain to the villagers, the golden goose helped the poor woman by giving her a golden feather to make her life comfortable. The rain and the goose's feather both make the characters in the story happy. Both the story tells us a lesson. 2. The Golden Goose teaches us not to be selfish and be happy with whatever we have. The story Once in a Village teaches us to protect our environment and not destroy it for selfish reasons. Question number 5. What in the real world does the story Once in a Village remind you of? The story Once in a Village reminds us to take care of our natural resources like water. It also teaches us to value nature's gift and to use them wisely.